Yeah. Even though they weren't there yet, because I mean there were several times where I bemoaned, you know, like what can I mean I literally cannot make them speak Spanish if they're not going to speak Spanish. Like I mean, you know, trust me, I tried all sorts of different things, but you know, I think just the fact that you know they did the best they could with what they had at the time that they did. I mean, certainly there's a lot of other stress
and there's a lot of ways to be successful in your life. It doesn't have to be, I mean, and for your teacher to know that you're a successful person, just not on this area of the rubric on this assessment.
That this is a work, not yet. I mean, not yet. This is a work in progress.
What about any kind of, you know, pairing with, in more of a realistic situation? I mean, if they were really talking to somebody who didn't understand English and they needed to use their Spanish, you know, are there any ways to either simulate that or put them into, you know, find situations where, you know, maybe there's 3 times that you do it in the course of the semester, so that then there could be some kind of improvement. I don't know. I'm just suggesting, it just occurred to me when you were talking about I can't make them. And it's like, well, you can't make them in that situation either. They could just silently, or, you know, like the Germans say, talk with their Hände und Füße, you know, hands and feet. But
kind of like a way where you pull half of the class out and you give them that scenario where you say, you don't understand English.
Yeah, but they know that's fake.
I know,
I'm
that's
thinking,
the,
you know,
I mean, that's
how do you
thing.
connect up? I mean, you know, to me it seems like there's
community.
Yeah, there's communities that, and I recognize that it's another thing to do and it's another whatever, but maybe have a student assistant work on that. Find some.
I just think it's hard with the volume of students, like, you know.
Right, but it wouldn't have to be, I mean, it could be, technology could help us. It wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't have to have the kids there. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm
throwing it out there, and it may not work.
No,
but
I know, I'm just thinking I had classes of 32, and, you know, even if you get, I'm just thinking of the logistics of it.
I'm thinking of the kids for which the other things don't work.
As an intervention, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking as a whole class, like, I'm like,
Well, I think if you did it as an intervention, some of the kids would say, hey, I want to do that too.
Yeah,
They could say that, but that would be fine, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, what about my time? Getting something, you know, okay, during this my time, we're going to have these things.
This panel of native speakers.
And if you did that as a department, you could do that more easily than just as a single person.
That's a good point.
What were you going to say?
I was just thinking about strategies and stuff in class. Like, I do some circumlocution things in class too to help kids practice those strategies. Like when they don't know how to say it, how can I get through? How can I?
You know, I mean, that was stressful for them. But yeah, that's
like before my kids go to Germany, I always teach them how to say, stop, I have something to say. Otherwise, you know, in the conversation, they're at a table and everybody's, you know, and they're like, oh, I understood enough to say something. I want to say something, but I can't form it. And, you know, it's like, stop, I have something to say.
Yeah, cute.
Give me a minute. You know, so just those things.
It's helpful.
And I think too, the other thing that I think happened too at the very beginning when we were kind of setting up some of the basis for like what we do and how we do business, my classes were devastated by Drake and his suicide. That, I mean, I had nobody here those days when they were able to go to the counselors. And that had a really lasting effect for a couple weeks as well. So I think that relationship stuff is just so important. I mean, I think it did, but the focus wasn't. You know, I mean, that was right when we were giving our first interpersonal IPA. So I mean, they did it because it was for feedback. They were in very bad, you know, I mean, just bad emotional places.
When you may have talked more, you may have used more English with that class than you normally would.
I sure did. Yeah, I had to.
Because when you're talking about those things, you're needing to help the class through something. Yeah. And so then
So
it's hard to reset.
That too was
Yeah.
it's a really
It's
just a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had that just rough first interpersonal, and then
It's hard to recover after that.
yeah, I don't know, just kind of even our practice up to that
Mhm.
point was just not what it it was just bad timing, and I mean, life intervenes, and we have to be sensitive to that.
How many of those kids are signing up for 5 in AP?
Yeah, I didn't survey my kids.
Not in that way, I didn't. I know looking at Lisa's 5 class now, half of those kids are my kids.
Yeah,
Which I was
about
like,
26.
I was like, ooh.
Well, and that's helpful too, to be able to know some of that.
I think just absolutely, I mean, we talk about it, about what the next steps are, and what their options are.
Yeah.
Yes, I talk to each of my kids individually because I need them.
Okay.
I mean, not that you don't need them,
That
I mean
is-
that, but.
That special touch. We do. We had an extra class this year, didn't we? 5. We had one more than, because
Two
we have 3?
sections.
We only had 2 sections,
Mhm.
but we had 3 APs.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the one.
So that was the one where
We have 4
extra.
we have 4
4
APs.
APs. That's good.
Yeah.
I knew that. I thought we went up one section somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. What about, is there anything you wanted to add more in language control for your perspective, or what other ideas you might do as a result?
Well, I did survey my kids, and kind of said, which of these things that we did worked, and which of them I had them rank them. And I was kind of surprised because I had things like, the online choices broken down. And I had more kids this year rank the textbook higher
Really?
than I have in like a number of years.
Wow.
What did they do with this textbook?
I know, it's kind of interesting because we still have the textbook and then we have like, the workbook online. And so I don't know exactly why, but I could guess that sometimes it's just really nice to have paper, and maybe
Have it
I
all
did a better
together.
job of describing how to use the book and like look at this section and look at that section. And we did a bunch of review at the end where I said, what's your best review for this concept? That last page of the chapter is probably where it all sits. And sometimes it's hard to find, it's easy to find one thing online if you search for it.
Right.
But it's not easy to look, have an overview of a bunch of stuff, like it is to look at the table of contents of a book for some reason. I don't know.
Right.
So
I think even just to do our verb quizzes, I'm like, Google it. But then when they Google it, they don't get just those 16 forms, they get 32. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like maybe they almost have too much information available to them, and the book focuses it. It's on pages 67 and 68, and that is where you go, and it is.
when I
that's
give
what you
them,
need.
if you're going to look up this is the site to use.
Right.
If you're going to look up this
You
is the
need
site
to know what you're looking
Yeah.
for
No,
in
that's
the
a-
first place, like using a dictionary.
That's a good idea.
Coming up with so many words that are off the wall but translate to the same English word but with a completely different meaning. You need to know what you're looking for, and right, if
What
they're
else did you
hidden.
find? What was
Well,
second?
sometimes, I think it was the online. Yeah. I think I was third. The class.
At least you're in the top
Aw.
three.
But no, I don't know. Yeah, when I think about that whole, what was I going to say about that? That language control, and sometimes I do think, we don't get those kids until they're in 9th grade. And so to get them to that rubric, and so, and especially when they're still manipulating all these different vocab and grammar things, that I think that's hard. And I often see them on that rubric in language control more in German 4. but especially in that category, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I should talk with somebody more about what it really means to be in each place. Maybe I can talk to Carrie about that, like what specifically in German, but, you know, because I often tell my kids, we're learning it this year, you'll master it next year.
Right.
You know, you're struggling with it, and yeah, there's pieces of it that you'll master, but you're not going to master everything you learn this year. You're practicing and practicing and practicing. This is the year of practice, but you're mastering the stuff from German too.
Right.
You know, so. But, good.
Yeah, the time is definitely, you know, certainly if we could have all of our languages start in the elementary.
Right.
I mean, certainly that would do wonders for, I mean, even, you know, some of the languages, all of our languages, and especially the ones that, you know, just take a little bit longer to get to, those different levels of proficiency.
And they're on middle school back.
And for kids to have choice and for their motivation
Well,
and all of those good things.
Curriculum review have recommendations. It's just time and money and all that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of like reflection questions at the end, but I think we kind of covered, I don't know, area of strength collectively, areas of growth. We did talk about some things where we can help each other, like some strategies, ideas.
You mentioned some outside support.
Licensing that top 20 stuff too.
I'm only on number 3.
It's a top 20 teacher.
Yeah.
Top 3.
I was like, otherwise I would have taken the bait a little bit better. But at least I'm only on number 3.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm sure that 4, 5, and 6, all the way up through 20 are fantastic.
There's also a PLC reflection question that we can do
What is
too,
it?
but I don't know if we need to record it, just write it. But if we encountered any obstacles in completing the 4 phases of our data-driven dialogue, if so, what were they? Supports that would be needed to remove the obstacles?
Well, I did go to this Illuminate Education thing, and so that is going to be the Performance Matters, you know, the new Performance Matters, and I'm pretty excited about it. So,
okay, cool.
But I mean, I thought Performance Matters did its job for us. It wasn't flawless, but
Right. Yeah, for me, that was going to be my only obstacle was...
I would just say if I had to do the math myself,
Yeah.
Lisa had to stand over my shoulder.
I did a little subtraction every now and then.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a struggle for me that you know, that I've never done it before, where I've punched the numbers from. I didn't know where to look in Performance Matters because I hadn't really had any training in there.
Yeah.
So once
it's just those tutorials.
once I figured out the filters and all that kind of stuff, then I saw the information, and then I was like, I have to count these like with my you know. So I don't know. Isn't there like the number of kids that met the thing? Like we didn't pull reports. We didn't know how to pull reports or anything, so we had to kind of do it by hand,
So
section
like
by section.
out of all the male students, then counting the ones that had all green and
all the way
no.
across.
Oh, yeah, there's a much easier.
I'm sure there is.
Oh yeah.
I just said to Lisa, I said, there has to be a report that we can pull, man.
Right.
Yeah.
That gives us that.
It just gives you the percentages.
So I think for most,
That would have been awesome.
yeah, I think
So did you?
for,
Yeah.
yeah, we counted.
Okay. Yeah.
Counted and figured the percent by hand.
And that was from the baseball card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God for the baseball card.
Well,
Yeah. Once I could see the baseball card.
and the baseball card is where you get everything.
Okay.
But you just have to know how.
Right.
So, you know, I can check your math. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't need you,
Please
Lisa
don't.
checked my math.
Just kidding.
I don't
But I
know.
just think for, you know, I have
Yeah.
no more or less experience than other teachers, and certainly that
Right.
was an obstacle for me, and I think.
Yeah.
I want to see if that baseball card tutorial tells you what to do or not in a
didn't
way.
look at- I didn't
because
look
it
at the
did.
tutorial.
Okay.
I used you as my tutorial when I needed something.
Okay.
Hey, PLC and lead.
I don't know if that,
Where do I
if that
click?
came out in an email that I didn't get, or.
Well, no, because not everybody's using Performance Matters, so there was no big training.
Okay.
It was just, if you want to use it, let me know.
Okay.
If you want me to put your data in there,